Good morning and welcome to Craft with Ronnie. I'm Ronnie Johnson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to be bringing you a new Techniques Tuesday video. I would like to point out that I do have a website as well as a blog and of course my YouTube channel, a Facebook page. All of that information can be found below the video, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be stamping on vellum today. And vellum is a unique challenge in that it is a little less porous than paper. And then that means that our stamps don't, our ink doesn't dry as quickly. So it does require a little bit of patience to work with, but it's just perfect, especially for this card, which was created from a new bundle that Stampin' Up! Came up with in the newest catalog. It's called Translucent Florals. And it is perfect because the concept of translucence on these florals, it just works so beautifully with vellum. The color kind of shines through. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start out by doing some stamping. And I'm going to start with my vellum. And I'm going to start stamping first my flowers. Don't worry about colors, etc. It'll all be at the bottom, so you don't have to try to keep track of everything. I mean, it'll all be on the blog later today, so you don't have to try to keep track of everything. I'm taking my largest floral piece, and I'm stamping it using Berry Burst. And then I'm going to take the next size down flower, and I'm going to stamp it using Poppy Parade. Oh, that one didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it. One of the things that you really need to pay attention to is make sure you press down on the whole stamp. There we go, much better. And then we're going to do our leaves. So we're going to put this ink away so we don't end up full of it. We're going to grab out Garden Green and we're going to stamp our leaves. Now, like I said, it takes a long time, or quite a while, for vellum to dry, the ink to dry on vellum. So what I did was I went ahead and through the magic of video, I went ahead and I stamped some earlier, let them dry, and die cut them. Now, I will say the let them dry part, I'm a very impatient crafter. I like to get moving right along. So for me, a lot of times I'll use my heat tool. The Stampin' Up! Heat tool has two different settings. It has a really high one and it has a lower one. I use the lower one to help dry items. So we have all of our pieces there, and we're going to grab out the next thing that we're going to be stamping with, and it's this piece of basic white. Now this I cut, just wanted it to have a little bit more flair than just a regular regular layer. So I used the deckled rectangles, and I used the second one down, and I cut it out of, like I said, out of basic white. I'm going to pull in a little bit of scratch paper here, a little bit of my grid paper, because I'm going to do some stamping, and some of it is going to go off, or it may go off the paper a little. So this is the stem for our flowers, and I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it over here. Oh. Well, I got a boo-boo on that one. So let me grab another one of these. Oftentimes I have these kinds of pieces laying around where I've got a project planned and I just make extras. I die cut extras. So I'm going to do one over here, making sure not to rock it like I did on that other one. And then I'm going to turn this over, put another one there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp our flowers and our leaves, etc. because as you saw from this one, it's actually layered on top of it. It helps give that translucency that you're looking for. So I'm going to start first with my sentiment. And my sentiment comes from a stamp set that we've looked at before. I talk about this one quite often, the Go-To Greetings. Beautiful font and lots of nice little sentiments. So I chose Just a Note. I thought I'd make these into a nice little set of note cards. Going back to that Berry Burst. And the reason I want to do my sentiment is it will help me to figure out just exactly where I want to place my flower so I don't get too high, too low, too something. There's my little sentiment, Just a Note. While I have that out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my larger flower. And it's okay if you go off the paper, that's perfectly fine, and it just gives it even more interest. Then we're going to take the Poppy Parade back again. Add another smaller flower over here. Again, I took it off the edge just a little bit. It's not a problem. That garden green again. Pick up those leaves. I think I'd like the double set over here. Then I'd like the single one over here on the other side. And don't be afraid to turn your paper so that it's comfortable for your hand when you stamp. Hope I'm not getting my head in that shot. Okay. Now that I have everything all stamped, I'm going to start building my card. So actually don't have everything stamped. I'm going to take my inside, and while I have stuff out, and I always do my inside and my envelope along with my card because you need to do something on the inside of your card, and I hate a naked envelope. There's just no reason for it. There we go. So that'll be the inside of the card. And here I have a piece of Berry Burst that's 4 1/4 by 11. And again, don't worry about those measurements, they'll be on the blog. And I've scored it in half at 5 1/2. I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to, I forgot my dimensionals. I'll grab those. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dimensionalize this layer and pop it up just to get even more interest. You know, and you can use as many of these as you'd like. I like to make sure that my cards aren't going to sag, you know, when they're given. Okay, and I'm just going to center that right on the card base. I'm going to go ahead while I'm at it, add some liquid glue. I use the multi-purpose liquid glue from Stampin' Up, but I put it in these little bottles because I can be kind of heavy-handed with glue, and this just helps me be a little more precise. A little bit better control. Okay, there we have that. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start building with the flowers and the leaves that we've already stamped and cut out of the vellum. And one of the things I like to do is I like to shape my flowers just a little bit. So I just use my bone folder and I just kind of give it a little bit of a curve. And I'll do that with both flowers and the leaves. Just feel like it, I don't know, it makes it seem a little more realistic. A little bit of movement. And then I'm going to grab glue dots. These are the mini glue dots. They work great on these kind of projects. And I don't want to put a bunch of adhesive on here and have it show. So I'm going to just stick it on there, grab a glue dot. I'm just going to layer this, and it's okay to like offset it a little bit so you can see kind of both layers. I kind of like it like that, I think. And then I'm going to grab the other flower, do the same thing. Pick up a glue dot. This one I think I'm going to have come in a little bit. Just gives it that more layered look. Okay, and our double leaves. And then our single leaf. Make sure I got this thing turned right. There we go. Okay. And the card is pretty much done, but I really thought it needed a little more bling, a little sparkle. So I grabbed the Rhinestone Basic Jewels, and one of my favorite techniques with these jewels, because they work it works perfectly with this, is to take the coordinating Stampin' Blends. This is the, I grabbed the Dark Berry Burst so it coordinates with the base of my card. And I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm just going to color them. And I want one of these. I don't want a real big one, but I want one of these, this size. And I like to come back sometimes and color them a couple times, especially with these really dark colors. It just makes them really pop. Okay. And I'm just going to pick it up. Should have grabbed my Take My Pick tool. It would have made things a whole lot easier, especially with the fingernails. But oh well. We're going to make it work. Oops, I don't want you up there. Got two for the price of one there. Nope. Really should have had that tool. There we go. And there you have it. It's a, like I said, it's a pretty simple card to make, and there's just something about vellum. It just, it gives things such a nice, rich look. And like I said, over here we still have our pieces, so we'll have another card to make. And there's still just a, you know, I don't think it shows on the camera, but they're kind of shiny, and that's how you know that the ink still hasn't set. So you can see it takes a while for it to go ahead and dry. But there's the cards. And of course, the envelope was stamped as well. That's pretty much the whole technique. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed sharing it with you. I think that vellum is an underutilized medium, and I hope to be doing some more things with it in the near future. So later today, I will post all the directions for this card, including all the cutting directions and a list of supplies that are used over on my blog. So I would encourage you to look below on the video and grab that link and go on over and check it out. And until next Tuesday, happy crafting.